Next question. Jocko, have you encountered any gaps in the leadership capabilities of officers from West Point or the other academies?
Okay, so for those of you that don't know what the service academies are, there's West Point, there's the Naval Academy, which gives you Navy and Marine Corps officers. West Point gives you Army officers. The Air Force Academy gives you Air Force officers. And the Coast Guard Academy gives you Coast Guard officers. They're 4 years. They're military school. They're really hard to get into. They're extremely competitive. They have massive amount of tradition at all of them, and they are highly disciplined and hard to get through. So you would think, right, that what I just said would produce a standard, a very high standard of an outstanding officer. The fact of the matter is, in my career, it really makes no difference. Because there's other ways that you can have officers, other avenues that officers come from. They can come from ROTC, which is when you go to a regular college and you basically take classes about being an officer and you get shown how to wear a uniform and all that. You can go to OCS, which is when you graduate from college, you go to a program for 13 weeks or however long. Each service has a little bit different. In the Navy, for me, I went to OCS. It was 13 weeks. That was after being enlisted for 8 years. You can be a prior enlisted guy like me, which is you get your commission after you've been in the military. And so all those, I had outstanding officers, or I worked with outstanding officers from each one of those commissioning sources. I had outstanding Naval Academy guys, outstanding West Point guys, outstanding ROTC guys, outstanding OCS guys, just outstanding guys. Great leaders. And guess what? I also had crap leaders that were from the Academy, crap leaders that were from West Point, crap leaders that were from OCS, crap leaders that from ROTC. So, and by the way, probably the biggest example of the disparity of good and bad is prior enlisted. So prior enlisted means that you were an enlisted grunt, you were a frontline trooper in the SEAL teams or in the military, and then you get your commission. That's what I did. And I had great officers that were like that, and I also knew horrible officers that were like that. So for me, it doesn't really matter what your commissioning source is. It matters who you are as a person and who you are as a leader. And if you have those characteristics that make you a good leader, if you're humble, if you listen, if you're dynamic, if you're articulate, all those things that make a good leader, if you have them, it doesn't really matter your commissioning source. If you don't have them, doesn't really matter your commissioning source. That's what I've experienced in my time. So it is interesting. I thought when I first joined the military, I thought these guys that came from the Naval Academy that I'm going to work with in the SEAL teams, they're going to be really awesome because they went to 4 years of leadership training and learning how to lead. And I mean, Brian Stan's a great example, right? You could hear he got a lot out of the Naval Academy, a ton, just the way he talked about it. I bet that Brian Stan would be an outstanding officer if he went to the Naval Academy, if he went to OCS, or if he went to ROTC. It's just, he's got a great... Did he learn lessons there? Yes, but he had an open mind to learn those things. And so, yeah, the service academies are definitely awesome and really great tradition in all those. But, I don't think you need to go to a service academy to be a good officer, and I don't think it really matters. What matters is what kind of leader and person you are.
Is that the kind of deal where you just never know who you're going to get at the end? Because some people, they're really good at, all these people, they'll get really good grades, but out in the field, they do substandard performance-wise.
Totally.
Because they're good at getting good grades, or they're good at taking classes kind of thing. Good at memorizing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, interesting.
But you don't know what you get as a person. Well, like, how were they brought up?
Right.
Well, Brian Stan's story, cool about how he got brought up. He just you could see that he wasn't taught his leadership ability, in my opinion, at the Naval Academy. Did he learn there? Yes. Did he take away a lot from it? Yes. Anybody that heard him would probably think, I definitely would love to go to the Naval Academy. Yeah. But, you listen to his story of his life, he learned a lot
Yeah.
Prior to, he learned a lot when he was at the TBS, the basic school. He just learned a lot, and he had an open mind. He was a humble guy and a hard worker. That's what makes you a great officer.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.